Greetings, family. I hope all is well with you, all is well with me. I'm coming in front of the camera. Now, if anyone knows me, you know that if I'm coming in front of the camera, I have something important to say. I'm going to try to get this information out as quickly as I possibly can, and then I may have to cut it into shorts if it's over 3 minutes. I'm coming to you because I want to talk about the unfortunate car incident that happened to Anthony Joshua in Nigeria. It happened last week. So what does this have to do with Ma'at on a mat? I am an American living in West Africa. I'm in the Gambia, but I could safely say that the practices that I see amongst drivers on the road in the Gambia is probably very similar to what happens in Nigeria. And if I'm wrong, baby girl, you tell me. Okay, here we go. Now, I was having a discussion with a friend of mine about this, and she made it clear to me that Logan Paul and Joshua Paul are two different names, but from the same cloth. They both started out as social media or content creators and then moved over into boxing or whatever, MMA. I'm just giving you a quick synopsis for the people in the back like me who had no idea who these people were. I was getting their names mixed up, but this is what goes. Jake Paul fought Mike Tyson on November 15, 2024, and won by unanimous decision. You hear me? I'm going to say it there. I am a content creator to a certain extent, but would you see me trying to get into the fight with Layla Ali and then winning? There is no way. Okay, so now let's move on to last week, the week before last, when that same Jake Paul fought against Anthony Joshua. It states here that Joshua dropped Paul 4 times and defeated him via 6th round knockout. Now, from what I understand, Paul spent a lot of time running from those quick moves in order to extend the fight. Now you know who Anthony Joshua is. Now, when I found out that Anthony Joshua was in Nigeria and had a mishap on the road, I was kind of surprised. I thought Anthony Joshua, forgive me, was not African based on his name. So I Googled it, honey. His real name, his full name is Anthony Oluwafemi Alaseni Joshua, and his parents are British Nigerian. Anthony is Nigerian. He spent his younger years in Nigeria, and then it says he returned to the UK. So he may have, I didn't read the whole thing, I kind of skimmed through it. So he was born in the UK, raised in Nigeria, went back to the UK, I think, when their parents divorced. I want you to understand this. That means that he did not spend a lot of time in Nigeria. not your adult life, you're going to school in the UK, you're a trainee, you're boxing, whatever. The most times people come home to celebrate and be with their family is in December. Nigerians' December holiday is known as Dirty December. In or during Dirty December, they describe it as being vibrant, high energy, and a festive season with non-stop parties, concerts, social gatherings, and meeting with family and friends. Party, party, party. That sounds to me like a recipe for disaster. Now, bear with me. I'm saying this because I drive on the roads in the Gambia. And I can definitely tell you, I have seen some interesting cars flipped on top of its head or in a ditch, or even black fumes puffing out. But worse yet, cars that have conked out on the side of the highway. I put those in quotes because as an American, never living or traveling or visiting in Africa, when you read the news and you hear the word highway, you're thinking of American highways. And then if there's something wrong, you pull over onto the shoulder and there are lights and lines and people read and follow the rules of the road. So when I heard about the situation through another YouTuber that I listened to, there were some red flags that came up immediately. I'm going to share them with you. My first red flag was that it happened during Dirty December. There are a lot more people on the road. There's a lot more reveling. There's a lot more partying. There may be a lot more drinking. There's a lot more, you're staying up late. Maybe you're too tired. You're not quick to move the way you would if you had rest. The other red flag is you're driving, but you don't really live there. You're visiting, but you're on the road. Now, I understand that he wasn't the driver, he was in the back seat, but I'm assuming if he had been training and other things like that, maybe his best friend and his coach was also in the UK or outside of Nigeria with the boxer, okay? It took me over a year to be brave enough to get behind the wheel of a car and drive in the Gambia. I waited that long after saying I would never drive here, but I realized that I had to do it. But for that first year and a half, I guess you could say, I watched how they drive. I understand their patterns. I understand that they don't generally look right and left. They look straight ahead. I'm going from A to B, and that's where I'm moving, and I'm going to get there. So I could see that being a red flag, visiting and driving. The other red flag, I'm sure, is, like I said, there are no speed limits. Yeah, they got some signs that say, no more than 70 kilometers per meter. What are we, 70 what? Because I'm an American. Is it 70 miles? It's 70 something, but it's not looking good. Because how it works is, if you're in the far left lane and there is a driver behind you coming faster than you, he will basically ride up to you and kind of force you to change lanes so you can move over. There are no real speed limits. There are no traffic lights that can take your photograph of your license plate as you're speeding across the highway and then they send you a bill later. There's very few police officers along the highway, and so you're really driving at your own risk. There are also no real car inspections, and so sometimes your car will break down along the side of the road. That's my fourth red flag, is that sometimes there is obstruction on the road and you're not even aware of it. It may come up to you and then you may have to, they said he tried to overtake, but he may have been trying, because if the truck wasn't moving, what was he trying to do? He may have been trying to change lanes to avoid hitting the truck, because the truck was on the road. Why was the truck on the road? There's no real shoulder. On my road, coming to my home, I always stay in the far left lane, because in the right lane, they may have backfill dirt or sand that has been dumped and spilled out into the right lane, because as they were building a store or structure along the road, there was leftover sand or dirt. On my road, there is a mound of sand that has been there since before I built my house. I know that's there because I've driven it during the day. At night, I don't go out, but I learned that if I stay to the left, I can avoid any obstruction on the side of the road on the right. However, even though there may be a double yellow line as I'm driving on my left lane, the cars coming in the opposite direction will sometimes come into the yellow lane to overtake a car that they're trying to pass. They come into my space. And so white lines and yellow lines don't really mean anything. So that's what I wanted to share with you. It also, too, there were some Americans that were surprised that people came around to lift Anthony Joshua out of the car. Now, we've been taught in an accident, you leave the body where it is. You don't want to move them. You could shift something. You could make the injuries worse. Something could be broken. Where the ambulance at? I saw a woman. There may not be an ambulance coming right away. Most people are driven to the hospital in the car. I want to be careful what I'm sharing with you so that my content isn't flagged. But I want to, so I'm mindful of what I'm saying by trying to be as clear as possible. So why am I sharing this with you? I'm sharing this with you because even now that I've met more Americans traveling to Africa, they still don't know what it is to really live in Africa. And I'm coming to you because I am an American living in West Africa. And I will be sharing more as I see things and I start to feel there's a need for people to have better understanding. Wisdom is the principal thing, so get wisdom. But in all thy getting, get understanding. Peace and love.